Morning, leaders. I'm here back at you with another episode of Leaders in Training. I'm here showing you a leader in the world of design. If you go back to the pandemic when it started, and everyone had to transition to home. Um, this person right here specializes in making the home beautiful, not only for you to work in, but for you to live in as well. So today I'll bring you a great leader who's going to give you tons of content on how to not only beautify your home, but any space you choose to be in. Good morning, once again, leaders. I'm here with a leader in the interior design field. As usual, I always like my leaders to speak about themselves, to gloat, to talk about the accolades, everything. So before we get into our questions and interview, I'm gonna go ahead and let her introduce herself and just all the great things that she's doing.
My name is Cynthia Smith. I am a designer and owner of CCS Interior Design. CCS Interior Design is located in Chicago downtown.
Okay.
We do high-end residential projects. We do some small commercial office projects as well, but we design spaces.
Okay. All right. And as I talked about in the opening, when people had to transition to their homes, someone like Cynthia here was the person who made the home beautiful as we sit here in her home. And it is great. I'm going to show you some footage as we go through the interview. But as I always start with my first question for any of my leaders is asking them, how would they define a leader?
Well, to me, a leader is someone who takes responsibility in influencing other people to make them better. Everyone can be a leader, but not everyone can be an effective leader who possesses the attributes of clarity, decisiveness, courage, passion, humility, and integrity, and honesty.
Okay. All right, so now we define what is a leader. So as we talk about the interior design business, what brought you to this field? What made you choose to say, I want to decorate spaces?
Well, I started as a teacher.
Okay.
I taught high school. High school student PE, actually. So my son passed away in 2004, and when he passed away, I took some time off. And my husband came to me, and let me go back. I found passion in designing.
Okay.
I have always been the one with the Barbie houses and decorate and get the furniture and things like that.
Okay.
But as I got older, I like to be hands-on and decorate and do things. Never had any education in interior design, anything like that, or any formal studies or anything in interior design, but I just like doing it, and I have fun doing it, and it helped me escape. So I kind of used that when my son passed away. I did a lot of my neighbors' home. When we first moved in this subdivision, it was a new subdivision, so I started doing a lot of my neighbors' home for free. And that kind of gave me the desire to really want to do it. Of course, HGTV was really hot about then, so that's all I could watch on TV was HGTV. So I really got into it, and my husband saw it. And he comes to me, he goes, well, what do you want to do? And I goes, well, I don't want to go back to school because I don't want to see kids. Because my son just passed away, and it hurts me to see other kids. I just can't do it. I can't go back to school. He goes, well, what do you want to do? I goes, I want to do interior design, but they don't make any money. Because I don't know anybody who's an African American who's an interior designer, so they don't make no money. So my husband went to an interior design school, got the curriculum, came home, set up an interview with a counselor, and we sat at my dining room table and made a decision that day for me to go to school and be an interior designer. So I went back to school for another 2 years and got a degree in interior design. And from the time that I graduated, I knew that I didn't want to work for anybody, because in interior design, you can work for someone or you can own your own business. And usually when people graduate, they work for people. But I decided that I was at a point in my life I didn't really want to work for anybody else. I wanted to start my own business as soon as I graduated. So I started taking a lot of business classes. And when I graduated from school, I just dived right into it. I mean, I made a lot of bumps and bruises, but, you know, still here.
Okay. All right. So you gave a lot of insight into like how life kind of shifted for you. Me learning even that you are a former teacher, like myself. We're educators. But then, the passing of your son, and then, your husband who did something that was just so awesome. Shout out to the husband, but that leads me to the next point. We talk about the support system, the people necessary for us to become leaders, for to step out here on, faith and just kind of go at it.
Right.
But can you talk a little more about your support system?
Sure. I'll start off. My main support system, I would have to say, is my husband, Darius Smith. He has supported me financially and emotionally throughout this whole process. And the start of my business, of course. In a self-starting business, owners make significant personal sacrifices. And I just think without the help of my family and my friends and my community, I would not have been here. Because that's just the core of my business, is the support that I get from my husband, my friends, my family, and the community.
Right. And I think that is so key for you to mention the community. As like you said before, you had to, you were able to design some of your neighbors' houses for free, for the free. So that was big. But I mean, that's important. We gotta, get our feet wet. Very similar to what I'm doing now. Everything is just, hey, just let me just showcase you, showcase greatness, excellence.
And a point to that is not only that to give back. To people, because people give back to you. It's like now people call me up and they refer me to their family members or somebody that they know that they're looking. It just, it just trigger a response. If you give, it comes back to you when you least expect.
So everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and you gave us a lot about the personal struggles and sacrifices that you have to make. Shout out to the husband once again. But could you talk a little more about, your personal strengths and weaknesses?
Sure, I will. My weaknesses is public speaking and time management. I'm not comfortable with speaking in public, but I do challenge myself. I speak at a host of events, community events. I've been the leader of a group of 1,000 members of Association for American Society of Interior Designers. I've served on that board for about 6 years. So I'm always in front of somebody, but each and every time I feel uncomfortable when I speak in front of people. So kind of what I do to make myself feel a little bit more comfortable with the situation, I practice over and over and over and over again. When I have the information in front of me, just to make myself more comfortable with it. I go back, I interview myself, I videotape myself, I look at the videos and try to see how I can improve my public speaking. So those are just some of the things I just prepare. I'm in speaking engagements.
Preparation is key. If I can just have you maybe speak a little bit more. I know you mentioned the group of interior designers. Is it just all women you spoke?
No, it's not. It's a community interior designers. So it's all over the world. It's in 48 different states. It's called American Society of Interior Designers. So it's one of many organizations that teach interior designers business practices, host of events, how to management, just all kind of skills, and also teach us classes to keep up on the latest skills and what's coming out. So this is an association, just one of the association. And this particular one, as I said, is in 48 different states, and each state has a president that operates the organization. And I was the president of the Illinois chapter for a year, because the president only served a year, but you can serve on the board in various other positions, in which I have. And it's a great organization. I think anyone who is interested in interior design, they have to seek out an association like one of these, because they are so detrimental to your career and just everything that you need to know about interior design.
And you mentioned that, as you stated before, you didn't know anyone that was an interior designer, or at least no one of African Americans like that. So as people who are also looking into going into this field, there are associations and groups that are out there that you can look into, just to kind of get a little bit insight of like what it entails to be an interior designer and what is needed to go into that field. So I think just by her giving that gem, that piece of information, that's something that my future leaders can take and kind of run with as well.
Okay. Another way that I help with my time management is I took on a new partner. Her name is Rebecca, and she's been with me for the past 4 months, and it's just been an awesome experience. Rebecca been an interior designer for 21 years, and I've been in interior design for 14 years. So combined, we've been in over 30-something years of interior design. So she's been a pleasure to work with, and we just combined both of our businesses, and she went under the CCS umbrella. Okay. So she's just a wonderful partner, and things has been so good with us lately.
Okay, well that's great. So let's also talk about action steps. So any one who wants to run a business, no matter what the field is, always want to know action steps. We also always say, give me the 1, 2, 3, or whatever the steps are. But let's talk about those action steps for someone who's looking to go into business. So even if you just want to speak to your personal journey, what you did first, second, third, and moving forward, just in general, what are some good things to know?
Okay, I'm gonna give some in general.
Okay.
Kind of action plans. One, I'm gonna say learn your craft. Okay, learn the industry, especially definitely interior design. Learn the craft, because a lot of people want to think that they're interior designers and they can design, and they can't. They can design and put some paint colors together and some accessories, but interior design is a way broader industry than that. We actually know coding, construction, permitting, contractors work. You know, there's a variety of things that you need to know as an interior designer. And I just think that a lot of people think that it's just fluffy pillows and picking out pretty stuff, and it's a little bit more entailed than that. So I would definitely say just learn the craft, because that's so important to being successful in this industry.
Okay. And you talked about just everything that's needed. You talked about coding, right? So that's like, of course, that's computer, but you're talking construction. If, once again, being an educator, I always, we're always trying to figure out how do we relate what we are teaching kids into the real world? How the kids, I know kids are trying to make that connection too. So I know geometry, math. We're talking about, you said mixing of paint colors. So we're talking about the science aspect. So there's so many different areas in which you said you're bringing into interior design. Right. So I love that. I'm glad you included. All right. So we touched on so much information that's going to be just great for my viewers to see. But I always go back to, if we can go back into time, what advice would you give your younger self? Financial advice, would you give your younger self?
Wow. Number one is to have and maintain good credit. Okay, because I feel like that's important for anything. You can't do anything without good credit. So I think that's my number one thing, is to maintain and to have good credit. The next thing I would say is to use all your resources. There are resources out here for any industry, not just interior designers, but for anything we want to do, and there's free resources. So I think just to do a search on what's free. If it's business you want to go into, learn business. If it's in interior design, learn interior design. There's resources out here to help you and educate you in those fields. So I just take advantage of that. My number 3 thing would be to hire an accountant. Don't try to do this myself. My financials, my books, my taxes, and things like that. I find a lot of business owners get into legal litigations on all this tax money, having all these penalties, is because they don't trust anybody. And I think you need to find you an accountant that you can trust with your money and just your business. So accountant. Number 4 is to save money. Don't spend all the money that you make. Save some of it. And just for a later date, invest in something else and do things, but just save some money. Number 5 would be to invest in a financial advisors. Also to invest and grow your business and other ways that you can make money, because I feel like a business owner needs to not have just one business, but 5 businesses in order to be profitable.
Okay. And I've read many times that millionaires at least have at minimum 6 to 7 streams of income. So that's all great information. I really want to thank you, Cynthia, for inviting us to your home to do this interview to discuss about the field of interior design, and man, I can't take it. I can't say anymore how thankful I am. But I really appreciate you, and hey, your business is going to do great. I can tell. There's the great leadership here.
Thank you.